Hello, my name is Cassie Montgomery, and I teach sixth grade ELA. This is my 11th year teaching sixth grade, and it's my seventh year at WMS. You might know me from teaching math in previous years, or maybe I had an older sibling for ELA as well. My goal is to create lifelong readers and thinkers, and to give every student a place where they feel safe and comfortable at school. To talk a little bit about our writing in sixth grade ELA, we really have a heavy focus on narrative writing, and we'll use mentor texts in order to guide our writing process to help us learn from the prose to guide our own writing. And we'll also be developing explanatory essays. Those are those multi-paragraph essay responses, but students will have ample time and instruction in class to build real quality responses. We'll also be working on developing a strong paragraph with textual evidence to support the main idea. Sixth grade is really the first year where students formalize their use of textual evidence. So that's going to take a lot of time and practice to get a feel for how to do that. For our reading instruction, we'll be focusing on the comprehension strategies. The comprehension strategies are also called the thinking strategies, and I'm just so excited to get into school with the comprehension strategies. This is really the meat of reading. This is where reading becomes meaningful to students, to classrooms, to people in the world. So we'll be focusing in on our comprehension strategies as we develop our reading. Reading is really important. Time in text is really important. It's the number one indicator of a student's success in school. That's kind of what this chart is showing. Even just 10 minutes a day added to how much a student is reading increases the student's exposure to words and ideas and the ability to make connections between texts. This exposure to text for just 10 minutes a day really exponentially increases students' ability to learn, to lead, to read. When we're talking about independent reading, it's really important to keep in mind that choice is absolutely necessary. As adult readers, we don't necessarily sit down and go, oh, I'm really excited to read this book that I have to read and that I'm dreading. That's not really genuine reading. And since our goal is to help students find a joy in reading and become readers, we want to make sure that we're offering them choice. So, homework is going to be to read 30 minutes a day. You're not going to sign any reading logs. You're not going to take any AR tests on this reading 30 minutes a day. But my expectation is that students are building the habit of reading 30 minutes every day. Let's see. So for grading, we use standards-based or standards reference grading, where every assignment really focuses around a standard and then is really clearly written out the performance expectations. So students will know ahead of time, and on every assignment, it'll be built into Schoology or the Google Doc or both, what students need to do to meet standard. Meeting standard means that the student is demonstrating proficiency consistently and independently. 2 means that they're partially there, and then 1 means that it's pretty minimal evidence that the students are meeting the standard. It's important to know that if your student receives a 1 or a 2, it shows that the assignment needs to be redone after the provided support and feedback. So whenever a student is given a grade, they're also given feedback about how to improve or what to do, and students should make revisions anytime that you see a 1 or a 2 on an assignment. I'll accept revisions up to 2 weeks after the original due date. And a little bit more about grading. The grade is totally based on content. I don't grade for behavior and effort, and I don't grade for completion. Sometimes You might see completion in Skyward as a way to communicate or for myself to keep track if something is done, but the overall grade in class is based 100% on the content assessments or papers or essays or projects that your students are doing. To get a sense for how students will be graded, every assignment has a rubric attached to it where students can see exactly what they need to do to meet standard. And meeting standard is where we want students to be. That is reflected as 100% in their grade, meeting standard. Extending above standard looks really it's kind of cool in language arts what extended learning looks like. Extended learning looks like taking whatever meeting standard is and then going the extra mile with making connections between other texts, with other characters, with other ideas within your own life. Extended learning in ELA is using the synthesis comprehension strategy and taking ownership for your own challenges as a reader. So I'm really excited to push students into that as well. So that application of complex ideas between texts and within our own life is going above and beyond that standard. So, how to help your student? Be sure to encourage them to make revisions after assignments are graded. There is feedback in the assignments to let students know exactly what they should be doing to meet standard. Have their students read their writing out loud to you or to a pet every so often to make edits or revisions. One of my favorite things to talk to students about is for school in general or for the book that they're reading, what's changed, challenged, or confirmed your thinking? That's a great question to ask. Sometimes every once in a while, maybe just ask your child, what are you reading about? What's something that happened in your book? Tell me about your book. Encourage students to read a variety of texts, but also hold that choice in text really near and dear to your heart as you're guiding students towards reading. There is a Schoology tour video upcoming that is more in depth about how to see grades, how to submit and resubmit work, where to find the weekly assignment log, and this will be in your student's ELA Schoology class. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks so much for watching. Emailing me is the best way to contact me. So I check my email frequently, and it's cmontgomery@osd.wednet.edu. And one last thing, if you are on the lookout for ELA intervention, I'll talk about that. So if you're in intervention, stick around, and if not, then I'll see you next time. So for ELA intervention, this is a 6th period class. So it's a small environment where we get to focus really specifically on each other in our work. And I'm really excited to have our ELA intervention class at the end of the day. There's kind of a cozy feel to end of the day type instruction. So what we'll be doing word work. This is looking at the patterns that English language uses for spelling and using prefixes and suffixes and root words to make up and build vocabulary skills. And this is all going to help with decoding or getting the words off of the page. To further our work with the thinking strategies, we'll be using the notice and note signposts about or within narrative and nonfiction text. And then this class is designed for support for the regular ELA class, no matter who your ELA teacher is. If it's Ms. Gutierrez or myself, you'll have more time, you'll have feedback, you'll have revision for your ELA work. So that is ELA intervention. And again, contacting me by email is the easiest way to reach me. Thanks. Bye-bye.